coming from a non-disclosed location near Nashville, Tennessee, we bring the Hump Day Hombres. With your host will be Molly Parks. Good day, my hombres. Hope you're doing well through this week. I'm really feeling good as I approach my final week of radiation and chemo. It's going to stop next Hump Day, August 13th. There's more to come after that, but I will get a 3-week respite from it all. Then we see how it's going to do going forward. Well, on to today's show. As saying, I try to keep the show about 30 minutes long because I know you're busy people too. So I do have a special gift to you all from a person this week who I met here in Nashville, James Shields. And James is an artist from the Bay Area, California. He's working on a project known as the Watermelon Couch. That's why I have one of his new hats with the with this emblem on there of the watermelon couch. So he's working on a project known as the Watermelon Couch, and it was passing through Nashville this last weekend working on this project. My sister turned me on to getting in touch with him, and I did. And I want to thank my sister Mary, who turned, well, I won't say how long she turned, but she had her birthday on the 4th. And happy birthday again. And so I'll be doing an interview with him today as he's out traveling. We'll also have some links showing you how you can see what James has completed as he's in his 3rd year of working in his live artistic film that he's working on. Also today, I'll also have another episode from the Tennessee Red Berry Tales, and I'll finish up with the cover off as something to check out, a local thing happening in Nashville that you should check out. If you can't see it this weekend, that's fine. It will be here as long as it's here. So it's available 24/7. So anyway, let's get on to the show, and I'll bring you out to meet my first guest today, and that is James Shield. Thank you. So, friends, I want to, as I mentioned earlier in my intro, that I wanted to introduce you to James Shields. And so he's going to share with you about his project he's working on this summer. So I'm going to let you start right out with it, okay?
All right. Well, once again, thanks for having me on the show. Is this our 2nd or 3rd time?
Yeah.
But I would say, I guess this officially makes us friends now because we keep hanging out. But yeah, man, I've for the past 3 years, I've been traveling the United States, interviewing intentionally Black farmers on my watermelon couch, but it's just expanded into meeting cool people from all walks of life with various backgrounds, whether they're business owners, local historians to whatever profession or non-profession, and then also artists and creatives. So it's been a journey that has really been enlightening for me and has just allowed me to kind of drive to my own beat, for lack of a better words. And it's just been an opportunity of discovery.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about how that all started out there with you. What it's been 2.5 years now, at least, or 3 years.
Yeah. So it really started in 2021, where I quit my full-time job, where I was a communicator, a designer for a labor union. And so I really just had the calling that I needed to put all of my intention into being independent so that I could just pursue my creativity in whatever directions. And so that direction at the time was to really explore soft sculpture, which is like pillow sculptures or design. And that led me into understanding what upholstery is. And so I started doing abstract shapes towards the end of the year. And then in 22, I had the opportunity to do an installation for a Juneteenth celebration in Oakland. And that was where I didn't have enough money for a new collection of pillows, but I did have an old couch that was just sitting on my balcony getting rained on. And so I figured I'd repurpose it with the theme of a watermelon as it's relative to like Black culture and American history. So that was just an experiment, that was just something that would be a cool concept. And once I completed that with the help of a local upholstery company, I realized that I kind of had something on my hands, that there was a lot of opportunities to work with this piece of art. And immediately I was just thinking photo shoot, like an exhibit or something. And how cool would it be to actually be on a farm or a watermelon patch? And so that was kind of that was the kickoff to even conceptualizing taking this couch on the road.
Okay. And so that first year you started mostly in, or initially you started in California where you were living at the time.
So, the first question was, where are Black farmers at? And are there any in California? And so from a Google search to a friend of mine who worked at our local co-op and she was connected to Black farmers, I realized the Central Valley had a hub of them, so to speak, out of Fresno, and even not too far in like the Bay Area. And so that was my first adventure, was talking to local Black farmers in California, Central Valley. And I recorded these conversations and I put them on my social media and YouTube. And I realized that, okay, this works, like this is cool. And so I said, in order to take it up a notch, let me take this couch to the birthplace of Juneteenth, which is in Galveston, Texas. And that was the goal that summer. And I borrowed my uncle's truck, and I made it out to Texas. But I also realized that I was, my family's in Alabama. I have family in Foley, Alabama, which is right next to like Mobile. And so I just made a whole pilgrimage, to say the least, of making it to Texas for Juneteenth and then crossing through Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama, making stops along the way, talking to other farmers and just cool individuals that I came across. And so I was gone for a month, and it did really well in regards to one interview I had with a farmer in Mississippi, Mr. Ben Burkett. His post went viral on my social media because he was talking about the difference between seeded versus seedless watermelon. And and so it was just like, it was kind of like a roller coaster ride after that first trip, meaning like, what did I just do? And not knowing that whatever I did, I wanted to do it again. I wanted to continue traveling the South. So the following year, 2024, is when I was on the road for 3 months. And I continued throughout the South, but I also did the East Coast from South Carolina all the way up to Maine. And that was a trip that was full of adventure, soul searching, and just collecting gems, gems of stories and history and wisdom. And I realized like my intention as it was formulating was to retrace the Great Migration routes of like the 40s and the 50s. So that's where I'm at now. And this summer being my third road trip year, I'm traveling the Midwest. And so now I'm currently in Kentucky, where Louisville, to be specific, or Louisville, however they like to pronounce it. But I'm out here, and then I'll be making my way to through Ohio, all the way as far north as Buffalo, New York. But then also swinging around the Great Lakes as I make my way back through Michigan, Illinois, and going all the way out um, to Minneapolis, as far as high as I'll go. And as I start making my way back, I'll go through Indiana and then start heading west through Missouri and Kansas City. And that'll be like my full kind of Midwest journey.
Okay, very cool. So when you meet with people out there, what do you find as kind of a way to talk with folks about it? And is it kind of open in terms of they share what they want to bring to the table?
Yeah, for sure. That's exactly what it is. It's genuine conversations of interest. That's like the foundation, whether it's what's it like being here. Because my real curiosity is just like learning about Black people through all walks of America. Me being from California, I had no idea. This is my first time really hanging out in the Midwest, and I'm 40 years old. So that just shows how much there is to know and observe, and kind of just be introduced to. So it's everything from what's it like living out here, or what's your profession? How did you get into this? And then also just kind of reliving my childlike experiences of hanging out with my grandfather or my uncles, and just following them around, whether that's on their farmland or in their place of business, or in their art studio, like just having a general curiosity and having my cell phone out as my primary recording device.
Well, I am including some of the work that I see on the connection that you have through YouTube. And I've been going through some of the videos of discussions that you have with people along the way. Is there some place that sort of has it all in one location? Like,
yeah, my website, creativeshields.com, that's probably the most curated, but then also my Instagram, which is also Creative Shields, just for a more current, more current postings. And I would say that right now I'm in the data collection phase of this project, where I consider this a public research project. So I'm not necessarily beholden to putting out a show on a schedule, as we know, like the requirements of that from editing and, just kind of having that out is just a different kind of monster that I don't feel like dancing with right now. So, as an artist myself, I really am looking forward to taking this body of work over the past 3 years and being able to develop from that.
Okay, cool, very cool. Do you have anything that you feel like has been your inspiration along the way in terms of professionally as an artist?
Yeah. So it's really like my inspiration has always been other great artists, so kind of to like walking in their footsteps. So last year, my spirit guide truly was Zora Neale Hurston. And Zora Neale Hurston was a writer from the Harlem Renaissance. So she was like counterparts with like Langston Hughes and stuff. But she was the first person to go to the South and document Black people in their everyday lives, and and this is the 1920s, and she had a car, which was hard to do. It was kind of unimaginable. She had a car and drove down there. She actually had recording equipment, and then after that, she came back and wrote books and wrote short stories, but in their local dialect, like the colloquialism of the time. And that was the first time that America really got to get an inside scoop on Black life. So it was crazy interesting to realize that I'm doing what she did almost 100 years to the
Okay.
day, you know? And so that was kind of like that was my spirit guide really for last year's trip. And this year, my inspiration has been Gordon Parks. And Gordon Parks is just a famed black photographer and musician, like just an amazing dude, and somebody who I've recently watched a few documentaries on and stuff. And I was just like, wow, this is kind of exciting and thrilling to just even attempt to do this, and in a fashion that's unique to me. So yeah, that's kind of, as an artist, I'm always picking up inspiration and picking up like opportunities to make art. So yeah, this is the opportunity to do it this summer.
Okay. Do you, because I got to the opportunity to see a little bit of your water painting drawings or colors that you do. Are there other mediums that you're using, and are you using them as you're traveling any, or are you just kind of focusing in on this at this point?
Yeah, so I mean, like, this project is kind of consumed in such a way of really putting me in a different practice on a regular basis. You know, like, this is very video and photo centric. So that's kind of where I'm coming from as putting my documentarian like hat on. But personally, like, from whether it's watercolor or sketching, that's been just a personal practice that I do on a consistent basis, where previously, and opportunities that I had to be a studio artist and have a studio practice lends myself to doing more painting and muraling and even digital illustrations. So yeah, it's kind of having to be disciplined in choosing which to engage in at this time, but I kind of just have the illustration, and the watercolor just kind of keeps me grounded at the moment. But like I said, when I'm settled back at home base in Oakland, and I'll really have time, which I'm looking forward to doing, is trying to paint more. Like, that's kind of that's what centers me as a practice.
Okay. Well, James, we are almost out of our time for today. I hope that I can connect you in the future to give an update on how things are going along that way. Maybe when you get, do you know roughly like when you do get back to the West Coast, or do you have a time frame?
I'm trying to be back in September, so that's roughly 2 months. Like the end of September. But you never know.
Okay. Well, anytime, get in touch with me but I would like to hear your, kind of a little bit more about your experiences when you've got more into the northern states and visited some of those places too.
Yeah. And I have so much to share. It's kind of just like catalog. So,
well, I'm going to give as much information as I can to people here so that they can kind of follow you along the way, it sounds like. So appreciate that. And also, I want to let people know that he also has done this. A lot of this has just been funded through people being experiences out there sharing. He's not out trying to make millions of dollars at this. He's just needing gas in his car and food, and so it's a very, I'm not sure what the term would be to say that, but again, my work, everybody that watches my show knows my brain doesn't function on quite the right words all the time, but just wanting to be able to expose that to you. So I'll have that information on your contact info on there, not only about the shows, but also if they can make a donation. I want people to help you out as well.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to have to end it here. I want to again thank you, James, for all that you have shared and the many trials that we've gone through to get this recording done.
Yeah, consistency works.
This will be the best that we can do. maybe next time I'll have all the right gear to do this, but we did a whole piece with it, and then 30 there's a limitation that only allowed me to do video without any audio. So we're trying it again.
Yeah, I've been there.
All right. Hey, well, thank you so much. Safe trip and travel to you out there, and I'll be in touch with you more just personally, okay?
I appreciate it, Wally.
Okay, thanks.
Peace.
All right, bye-bye. Well, that was really inspiring and fun to meet with James out there today. And I will be including some contents at the end of the show for today describing how you can get a hold of his work, and that'll all be available there. So, so now that brings us to another episode today of the Tennessee Red-Berried Tales. And so the story today is called The Spinet Piano. And I'll share, again, I'm sharing from the Tennessee Red-Berried Tales, and Bob Galbraith is our person who wrote this book. I guess I'm his host, so he would be the artist of it. So he starts out. Strange how some legends are born. Folks love to talk about them like it was the absolute truth. But sometimes what is truth and what they think is true are two different things. One very bright moonlit night long ago, a group of us teenagers went over by the old sulfur spring at the foot of Mount Airy for a wiener roast. It was perfect weather, not too hot nor too cold, and everybody was sitting about the fire eating and talking. We were telling tall tales, seeing who could best the other. We noticed the blue mist was so thick over Mount Airy, it looked like you could walk on it. Somebody said when the blue mist came, he liked that. It was a sure sign Aunt Sally's ghost was visiting up around her old house on the mount. One boy said, I don't believe in ghosts. That's just a bunch of old wives' tales. No one can come bad from the dead, and there ain't no such thing as a haunted house. Then someone came up with the bright idea of, let's go up to Aunt Sally's house and see. So the group climbed the steep hill. Now the house faced east, so the full moon shone right on the front door. When the kids got to their porch, they started betting and daring each other as to who was brave enough to open the door. Finally, one of the girls, Layla, said she wasn't afraid of ghosts and she'd do it. As she pulled the louvered door open, the bright moonlight fell into the breezeway, which separated the house into living and sleeping quarters. It shone right on the old spinet piano sitting there. All the teenagers crowded into the front part of the breezeway, looking around and saying how spooky it felt, and just the right setting for the old Aunt Sally's ghost to show up. Layla spied the piano and announced she was going to play a tune on it. Several others told her she was better not, since ghosts did not like piano music. How stupid can you get? Layla said. I don't care what ghosts like. Here goes. She sat down on the bench and started acting like some opera star. She lifted her hands high and started to bang down on the keys. You could see the reflection of her raised arms on the floor in the sunlight. in the moonlight. And just as her hand started down, the piano started playing by itself, like there was somebody else sitting at the keyboard. Utter bedlam broke loose. Those kids ran all over each other, trying to get out of that breezeway. They trampled two girls half to death, hollering at the top of their voices, "This place really is haunted!" They got out and ran hard and didn't slow down till they got out past the old slave quarters. Then one of them asked, "Where's Layla?" Some of the boys gathered up enough nerve to go back into that house to look for her. They found her by the front porch, lying real still and white as a sheet. They both thought she was dead, but she was breathing. So they grabbed her under the arms and dragged her back to the slave quarters. Layla was just so scared she had fainted away. All the kids noticed that the blue mist was thicker than ever before, and some said they could hear Aunt Sally's voice in the wind. So from then on, Aunt Sally's place was known by all as the haunted house. Now here's the truth about the piano playing ghost. Back at the fire, when my friend decided to go to the house, I told them I didn't think I'd go. I had been up there so many times, I said I would just stay behind and see the fire didn't creep out into the woods. Then, as soon as they got out of sight of the ring of fire, I slipped up another path, beating them to Aunt Sally's house. I went in the backside of the breezeway and hid behind the old spinet piano. The spinet had an open back where all the hammers, felts, and fingers were. I could see everyone who came in by the moonlight, but they couldn't see me. Just as the girl raised her hand to bang on the piano, I could see her shadow on the floor. As her hand started down, I began to pluck the hammer from the back. So you can see how this legend was born. So thank you for another story from the Tennessee Redberry Tales. That ends our ghost section area. We'll be going next into the Civil War. So thank you for listening. I'd like to share with you all about something that's going on here in Nashville. Has been going on for a number of years, and hopefully will be continuing on anytime you come to visit us out here. We have here in Nashville the National Museum of African American Music. I'm going to show you a picture of them. And I also will include their address, which is right across from the Ryman Theater, just off of Broadway in Nashville. So I've had 2 visits to there. I went there probably a year to 2 years ago and enjoyed that. Although we got there kind of late in the day and they did close at 5 o'clock, so they did empty the museum, so we didn't get all the way through it. And then this last week I was visiting with my sister, Polly, and she had gone there with me. So we went on to the show. I was feeling a little weak that afternoon, and so I didn't get to see all of it. It's quite a bit. You could spend probably, I would say, at least 3 or 4 hours to get all the way through it. Maybe even a little bit longer. There's so much music involved with what they share. There's art exhibits. There's actual instruments and clothes that certain bands or artists have used. And so I was just really happy enough with it. This last visit, I went ahead and became a 1-year member of it, so I can go anytime I want. But if any of you want to go, I forget exactly how it costs. I think it was like $32 or $33, maybe $34 to visit. And for just a few dollars more, I was able to become a member at $40, I think. But it's worth it. Hopefully, you can come up and visit them here in Nashville. And they do all kinds of neat things there. So anyway, that is our something going on this weekend, if you want to go and visit. So, but it is open at all times during the week and weekends. So if you're interested in visiting, come on out. Well, welcome again, all you Hump Day Hombres. I hope you enjoyed today's show. And like I said, there'll be some plugs at the end for James Shields. And I guess Maisie's involved in this as well. But anyway, we'll conclude today's show. Thank you for watching, and we appreciate it. And I will see you all hopefully next Wednesday. As I mentioned earlier, will be a special day for me because that's my last day of radiology and the medication associated with that. So I get a little break from that. So good to see you all today. Thank you for joining. Catch us next week. Hump Day Hombres.